90% of people who buy this cute $10 fish at the pet store end up secretly hating it within 6 months. They won't tell you this in the shop, but you aren't buying a pet. You are accidentally signing a 15-year prison sentence with a toxic, water-breathing roommate who has the jaw strength of a pit bull and the attitude of a toddler in a candy store. Are you actually ready to commit to heavy 50% water changes twice a week for a fish that will outlast your phone, your car, and probably your current relationship? If you think your filtration can handle a fish that literally breathes out pure ammonia bombs, stop. Put down the net and let's see if you can survive the dark truth behind the ultimate river monster. This is Dark Cichlids. Forget the sanitized textbook definitions and the boring fairy tales. Today we are tearing down every single myth surrounding the ultimate river monster. But pay absolute attention to the final 60 seconds of this video. Why? Because even if you get the tank size perfectly right, even if you buy the biggest, most face-melting filter on the planet, there is one invisible behavioral trigger most owners pull at month 6 that completely breaks an adult Oscar's mental health, turning them into a depressed, glass-banging hazard that you cannot fix. If you make this mistake, nothing else matters. Let's smash the biggest industry lie right out of the gate. Oh, a 55-gallon tank is plenty for a single Oscar because fish only grow to the size of their tank. That single sentence is a biological death sentence. Let's look at the actual, horrifying anatomy of the stunting myth. When you trap an Oscar in a 55-gallon tank, its external skeletal growth might slow down. The fish looks small, so you think, great, it worked. But you don't see beneath the scales, their internal organs, the liver, the kidneys, the heart. They don't care about the tank size. They are genetically hardwired to grow at full velocity. Your Oscar is literally crushing itself to death from the inside out. Its expanding organs are slowly suffocating against its stunted skeleton until it suffers early organ failure. It's horrific, and people do it every day. These fish don't grow politely, they grow exponentially. They go from 2 inches to a massive, thick, muscular brick of attitude in less than a year. A 75-gallon? That's your absolute baseline just to handle the physical mass. If you want them to thrive, you need a 125. Footprint is king. Height doesn't matter. They need width to turn their massive bodies without scraping their flanks like a bad driver parallel parking. But wait, beginners get scammed before they even choose the tank. They walk in and see a tank labeled Strawberry Oscar or a blindingly bright neon red Oscar, flashing fluorescent colors. They say, I want the pretty pink one. Do not buy them. Nature did not design those colors. Greed did. The aquarium industry has a very dark, very dirty secret. Wholesalers take juvenile albino Oscars and physically inject them with artificial chemical dyes using long needles. They often use caustic acid baths that strip their slime coat just to force those temporary neon colors for a quick sale. Even worse, many breeders pump juvenile Oscars full of heavy synthetic hormones and artificial color enhancers, so they look intensely vibrant in the shop. The moment you bring that fish home and feed it a normal diet, the truth hits. The fish goes through a brutal hormonal withdrawal. Its vibrant colors fade into a dull, scarred gray, its immune system collapses, and it dies of kidney failure before its first birthday. Stick to real, natural Oscars, tigers, lutinos, or reds. And please, stop trying to give them friends. Beginners always think, my Oscar looks lonely. Let's buy him a peaceful angelfish buddy. Congratulations, you just ordered a very expensive, slow-moving dinner. The rule of the cichlid block is simple. If it fits in their mouth, it is food. If it doesn't fit in their mouth yet, it is a future punching bag. Oscars are not community fish. They are cellmates, and your Oscar is the alpha in the cell block who will systematically shred any roommate over time. So you buy the massive tank, you avoid the chemical dye scam, you keep him alone, and you bring him home. You drop him in the water, expecting a terrifying predator, and instead, the fish sinks to the bottom, flips onto its side, and pretends to be dead. Don't panic. You've just met the biggest drama queen in the hobby. New Oscar owners absolutely lose their minds during the first 48 hours because of Oscar shyness. You expect a monster, but instead, your new Oscar lays completely flat on the gravel, looking deeply depressed, refusing to move or look at you. You think it's dying, you panic, changing the water, rearranging the filter, throwing chemicals into the tank, and you end up stressing the fish to death. Relax, it's not dying. It's throwing a massive tantrum. Oscars are hyper-intelligent and emotional. They are pouting because you changed their environment. Leave the lights off. walk away, and within 2 days, that pathetic, dying fish will be jumping out of the water, trying to bite your fingers off for food. But once that appetite wakes up, welcome to stage 2 of the trap. Oscars are heavy organic waste polluters, but they don't just pollute through their waste. They excrete massive amounts of pure ammonia directly from their gills just by breathing. Worse yet, an Oscar does not eat. It destroys food, it pulverizes the pellet, it grabs a pellet, crushes it inside its mouth like a grenade explosion, swallows half, and then shoots a massive cloud of fine food dust directly out of its gills. Then it stares at you, covered in its own food crumbs, begging for more. To your eyes, the water looks transparent, but in reality, it is packed with invisible, microscopic, decomposing food dust. To the fish's immune system, they are swimming in their own toilet. If you smell a slight lake odor or a funky swamp smell when you open your aquarium lid, brace yourself. You are operating a small indoor sewage system. Oh, and that ultra-popular filter media you probably threw into your canister filter to clear up that water, the cheap activated carbon everyone buys, it might literally be dissolving your fish's face right now. We will get to that horror story in a minute. For now, know that you need to filter a 75-gallon like it's a 200-gallon. You need a mandatory 50% water change every single week just to keep the nitrate monster at bay. But even if you build a heavy-duty filtration system, you still cannot see the true hatred your fish is breeding against you. To witness that, you have to add your first piece of decor. Look at the beautiful tank you spent hundreds of dollars building, the beautiful driftwood, the expensive rocks, the delicate Amazon sword plants. It looks so serene, and within 48 hours of hitting adolescence, your Oscar has completely obliterated the entire setup. You don't design an Oscar tank. The Oscar designs it. You are just the landlord. They are the tenant from hell who redecorates without permission. People think this destruction is just random, wild aggression, or territorial defense. But the truth is much darker and rooted in deep Cichlid psychology, pseudo-pregnancy. Even if your Oscar is entirely alone, their wild reproductive instincts can trigger a phantom breeding cycle. They enter a state of delusion where they believe they are building a nursery for future offspring. That rock they are slamming, that substrate they are frantically digging up, they aren't trying to destroy the tank. They are clearing a nesting site for imaginary babies. And your equipment is seen as a direct, lethal threat to their non-existent babies. Picture this. It's 3 a.m. You are fast asleep. Suddenly, from the living room, you hear a violent clack, clack, clack against the glass. You jump out of bed in a panic. Your Oscar has ripped the glass thermometer off the wall, held it in its mouth like a baseball bat, and is repeatedly slamming it against the aquarium glass. Why? Because in its delusional mind, that thermometer is an invading predator, threatening its non-existent eggs, and it will not stop until it smashes it to pieces. Before we move to the disease section, let's settle a bet. Drop a comment right now and tell me, what is the most expensive or ridiculous piece of equipment your Oscar has absolutely annihilated? Let's see who owns the biggest felon in the comments. The solution here is simple. Stop arguing with a delusional water monster. Use smooth river stones that are way too heavy for them to lift. Use massive, secured pieces of driftwood. Do not use sharp rocks like lace rock. When an Oscar gets excited during feeding time, they charge blindly like a toddler in a candy store, and sharp edges will tear their skin open. Most importantly, protect your tech. An adult Oscar can and will smash a glass heater against the tank walls. Use plastic guards or hide your heaters in a sump completely out of their reach before they turn your tank into a live electrical current cooking system. You want to look cool, so you go to the pet store, buy a bag of live feeder goldfish or rosy red minnows, and dump them into the tank because it looks metal to watch them hunt. Congratulations, you are feeding your Oscar a biological time bomb. Aside from the fact that cheap feeder fish are swimming bags of parasites, they contain a massive amount of a specific destructive enzyme called thiaminase. When your Oscar eats goldfish or minnows regularly, this enzyme enters their system and completely destroys vitamin B1 or thiamine inside the Oscar's body. You think you are giving them a rich, natural protein meal, but you are actually causing a catastrophic vitamin deficiency that triggers a total neurological breakdown. Your fish will slowly develop aquatic paralysis, losing its ability to navigate, swimming erratically, and deteriorating from the inside out while you cheer them on. This nutritional collapse directly triggers hole-in-the-head disease, and it ruins their lateral line system, the highly sensitive line of sensory pores running down their entire body that they use to detect vibrations and feel their environment. The thiaminase deficiency and high nitrates literally eat away at their sensory system, leaving them blind to their surroundings, covered in deep white ulcerated facial craters, and in constant pain. If you want to feed live food, stick to gut-loaded crickets, earthworms, or homebred guppies that don't contain this neurotoxin. But remember that popular filter media I warned you about? Cheap activated carbon. Yes, that black charcoal you put inside your filter to make the water look polished. Now let's be totally honest here. High-grade expensive carbon won't do this. But if you try to save money and buy that cheap, dusty, unwashed black charcoal on Amazon, your filter is going to spray microscopic carbon dust all over the tank. This dust goes straight into the Oscar's sensitive face pores and completely strips away their protective slime coat. By trying to clean up the water, you are literally dissolving your own fish's face with your own hands. Throw that cheap garbage carbon in the trash right now. Look, an Oscar is basically a garbage disposal with fins. They eat everything. Supplement their premium pellets with high-fiber treats like thawed frozen peas to keep their digestive tract clean. Variety is what keeps their immune system strong, and you want them strong, because this next part is where most people waste hundreds of dollars and accidentally kill their fish with pure kindness. You read one basic setup guide online that says Oscars come from the Amazon River, so you panic and think, oh no, I need perfectly soft, high-acid water. Let's spend $300 on a fancy reverse osmosis water system right now. Stop overcomplicating it. Your tank-raised Oscar doesn't care about a perfect textbook pH. The Oscars in pet stores haven't seen the real Amazon River for 50 generations. They were raised in regular municipal tap water. Chasing a perfect pH by dumping bottled chemicals and pH down into your tank is the fastest way to trigger a fatal pH crash. A sudden chemical swing will shock their system and kill them faster than hard tap water ever could. Consistency beats perfection every single time. If your tap water is a stable 7.4 or even 7.8, leave it alone. Your wallet and your fish will thank you. However, while you can ignore the pH, there is one invisible number you cannot ignore: carbonate hardness, or KH. Think of KH as an invisible shield that stops your water from turning into pure acid overnight. Because Oscars poop so much and breathe out so much carbon dioxide, they are constantly creating acid inside the tank. If your water has zero buffering capacity, meaning your KH is too low, that acid will cause your pH to drop to zero while you are asleep. It will kill your good bacteria, break your cycle, and turn your tank into a toxic trap before you even wake up. But wait, do not run to the store to buy those overpriced chemical buffers. That's a rookie tax, and we don't pay it here. Instead, just throw a small bag of cheap crushed coral or aragonite sand into your filter box. It dissolves slowly, keeps your KH high, stabilizes your pH, and makes sure your tank doesn't crash while you're at work. And speaking of giant disasters happening while you're away from the tank, that brings us straight to the absolute chaos of the roommate situation. Because eventually your ego is going to look at that tank and whisper, hey, look at all that open water. It looks so empty with just one fish. Let's buy him a friend. If you insist on playing Russian roulette with tank mates, you need to understand the strict rules of Cichlid diplomacy. Rule number 1, never introduce a second Oscar into the tank unless they are an established breeding pair or you have a massive 200-gallon system with visual barriers. If you drop 2 adolescent male Oscars into a standard tank, they will not be buddies. They will engage in a brutal, endless war of attrition called lip locking, literally ripping the skin off each other's jaws until one dies of infection or sheer exhaustion. If you want compatible tank mates, you have to look for armor, speed, or complete indifference. Your best bet is a large plecostomus, but avoid the common pleco unless you want a 2-foot poop machine that creates more waste than the Oscar itself. Go for a sailfin or a rhino pleco. They have armored scales. The Oscar will try to bully them on day 1, realize they are biting a literal brick, get frustrated, and ignore them forever. For mid-water tank mates, look at silver dollars. They are the perfect companions because they are shaped like flat discs, making them impossible for an Oscar to swallow, and they are blisteringly fast. An Oscar is a heavy tank. A silver dollar is a sports car. The Oscar will chase them for 3 seconds, get completely outmaneuvered, and give up. But remember, every single tank mate you add doubles your filtration requirements. Which brings us to the ultimate reality check, the timeline. People buy an Oscar thinking it's like a hamster that lives for 2 years. It isn't. A properly cared for Oscar can easily live for 10 to 15 years. This fish will outlast your phone, your car, and probably some of your current relationships. It is a massive commitment. But let's get right to that fatal mistake I warned you about at the beginning. The one that completely destroys an adult Oscar's mental health, even if your water chemistry is flawless. Oscars are hyper-intelligent. They don't just swim, they observe you. They recognize your face, and they know your routine. When they hit month 6 and achieve full size, if their environment becomes entirely static, meaning you never change their sightlines, never give them new objects to investigate, and stop interacting with them because the new pet excitement wore off, they sink into severe clinical depression. They will sit on the bottom of the tank, refuse food for weeks at a time, and start violently banging their heads against the glass out of sheer understimulated frustration. They don't just need clean water, they need a challenge. To fix this, you have to give them stimulation. Throw a clean floating ping pong ball onto the surface of the water. An adult Oscar will spend hours stalking it, slamming into it, and playing water soccer. Rearrange the movable rocks and driftwood during your weekly water changes. Give them safe, smooth PVC pipes to push around. Treat them like an aquatic dog, or don't buy them at all. This isn't just about keeping a fish alive, it's about surviving the reality of the hobby. Dark Cichlids is growing every single day, breaking through the sanitized corporate lies and connecting with real, hardcore hobbyists all across the globe. From small bedroom fish rooms to massive monster tank setups, we are building a global community that values the brutal, unfiltered truth over pet store fairy tales. Now, I've given you my raw, unedited perspective based on years of trial, error, and shattered aquarium equipment. But the real masterclass happens right down below. I want you to drop a comment right now and share your own experiences. If you've ever kept a monster Oscar, if you've ever dealt with the dreaded month 6 mental crash, or if you discovered a trick that saved your system, write it down. Let's turn the comment section into the ultimate survival blueprint, where beginners can learn from the veterans and everyone can pull invaluable insights from each other. Sharing the truth is how we elevate this entire hobby. Smash that subscribe button, hit the like icon if you're ready to put down the net, and stay tuned. Because on Dark Cichlids, we never stop digging. Click the video on your screen and it'll meet you there.